quietness, can I ask you just to open your heart before the Lord this morning? Bring to him your request. What is it that you'd like to ask Jesus today? What is your need? What would you like Jesus to say to you, to do for you? Just express your desire, your heartfelt desire, Jesus, just now. Lord Jesus, we thank you that you are here with us. You've promised never to leave us or forsake us. Your word tells us where two or three are gathered together in your name, there are you in the midst. So Jesus, you are here. The mediating presence of God here today. And Jesus, we want to honour you, focus on you, hear from you, worship you, lift you up, acknowledge who you are and what you've done for us. Lord Jesus, you are the centre of our life, wellspring of our hope and of life, future. Lord Jesus, we honour you, we worship you. We ask that through your Spirit might speak to you of our hearts and minds today. Open our hearts, Lord Jesus. We want to see you high and lifted up. We want to see and understand the meaning and significance of your cross. What that means for us today, to follow you. Please grant us this grace. We ask in the mighty and powerful name. Amen. I want to ask you a question this morning. It's a fairly simple question. It's not a difficult question to understand, although it has very profound implications. The question is this: will you follow Jesus? Will you follow Jesus? It's a simple question, although maybe if we unpacked it a little bit, the word follow may be a little bit difficult to understand. We mean literally. Well, in a sense, yes, Jesus is our leader, our guide, the one who shows us the way. So following him is accepting him as our leader, as our guide. Will you follow Jesus? But we're using the word follow in a more technical term. It means a disciple, someone who's like an apprentice, someone who will learn from Jesus. We might ask the question, do you follow football? Do you follow cricket? Do you follow the rugby? Are you an avid person who's interested in the outcomes? Are you a follower? Are you committed to? Will you learn from and learn about? Will you follow Jesus? It's a simple question. And it's a question I'd like you to answer today. Will you follow Jesus? Yet it's a profound question, isn't it? Because Jesus called his disciples to follow him, and they caused a radical reformation. They changed the world. If you follow Jesus, it will change the way you think. It will change the way you live. It will change the way you act. It will change your whole way of looking at life. Will you follow Jesus? It's a question I want you to answer today. Will you follow Jesus? I wonder if you would turn with me in your Bibles this morning. I'd like you to look with me at Mark chapter 8. Mark chapter 8. And I'm going to be reading from verse 27. It's on page 921 of these black Bibles that you'll find somewhere around you in the seats. We'll be looking at a particular part of this, but I'd just like to read this whole section to you. It's a key section. Over those last weeks and months, we've been studying Mark's Gospel. We've been learning about Jesus. And this particular passage, this particular moment, is like a hinge in Mark's Gospel. It's the centre point, it's a turning point of all that Mark is trying to say to us about Jesus. It's very important. I want you to listen very carefully to it. It's critical in our thinking and understanding about Jesus. I want you to listen as I read. Will you follow me from Mark chapter 8? And I'm reading from verse 27. Jesus and his disciples went on to the villages around Caesarea Philippi. This is in the area of Galilee. Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea Philippi was a Roman settlement. It was a beautiful citadel built by Herod to honour his patron Caesar. It was a beautiful capital city, and in a sense it was the end of the country of Israel, farthest point, if you like, both geographically and religiously, from Jerusalem. Jesus and the disciples went on to the villages around Caesarea Philippi. On the way, he asked them, "Who do people say that I am?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others say one of the prophets. But what about you? Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "You are the Messiah." Some versions you'll have the Christ, the Messiah, the Christ. One is the Hebrew word, one is the Greek word. Christ, the Messiah. Jesus' word warned them not to tell anyone about him. There's a reason for that. He then began to teach them that the Son of Man, that's a term that he used to refer to himself. He then began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and after 3 days rise again. He spoke plainly about this. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But when Jesus turned and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter. "Get behind me, Satan," he said. "You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns." Then he called the crowd to him, along with his disciples, and said, "Whoever wants to be my disciple, my follower, my apprentice, whoever would be my disciple must, divine necessity, must deny themselves